Toni. I think everybody was shocked when we found out that these two actually got married. I know, like, there's a lot of things we will do in order to pay our bills, but I never thought the relationship between Toni and Birdman was genuine. I just knew that he was just willing to go broke behind her. It just never fit. And so apparently in August of last year in 2024, they had a secret wedding. Finally got married in secret, even though everything else was public. And then she went and tried to annul the marriage 2 weeks later because she realized she had stuff.
Toni Braxton and Birdman were together for almost a decade, and for most of that time, nobody could get a straight answer about what they actually were. Friends, dating, engaged, broken up, back together. The story changed depending on when you asked. But in 2025, court documents surfaced that revealed something nobody expected, and buried in the paperwork was a detail so strange that people are still trying to make sense of it. This is the full timeline of what happened and why the ending doesn't look like anything anyone predicted. For years, Toni and Birdman moved in a way that kept people guessing because they were seen together constantly, looked close in photos, and still the public message stayed exactly the same. "We're just friends." Toni described him as someone she'd known a long time, and Birdman, who's famously private about his personal life, didn't exactly clear anything up either.
You know, me and him have been friends for 16 years.
I know you had a song like 15 years ago,
yeah,
too,
we've
right?
been like besties for a long time.
People always say that. But
No, this is real. Like, no cross the line.
Besties, like you always kept in touch and you always talked?
We would keep in touch. He would come see me when I had my plays. When I had my baby shower, he would come. Like, we were really friends.
That created a strange situation where fans felt like they were watching a relationship unfold while being told it wasn't one. And when that happens, the internet doesn't drop it, it leans in harder and starts building theories. The timeline became more believable to people over time because Toni has shared pieces of what their bond looked like when life got serious. She has spoken publicly about dealing with health challenges, including lupus, and how Birdman being consistently present during a difficult period made her see him differently.
People don't know, 2016, November, when I was on tour, October, I was really sick. I don't mean kind of sick. I mean like really,
From
really
lupus?
sick.
Or
Yeah, I had a
from-
really
okay.
bad flare, and I was on tour. And every day I was on tour, he was there with me. He was there every day for the shows. And on my off days, he would go and take care of his business, but he would follow me on the bus and just make sure I was okay. And I don't know if you've ever been really, really sick in your life and you feel kind of hopeless and you got somebody who's a friend that's there. That's kind of, it
means
just
a
made
lot.
me see him differently.
Not as a headline, not as a rumor, just someone showing up when it mattered. You can understand why she might want to keep something like that protected, because the more personal a connection is, the more you want to shield it from outside noise and opinions that don't understand what you've been through together.
Well, T, that's my girl, my friend, my family.
Do you have
That's my love, my soldier, my life. She my everything, and I trust her.
so the implication is that's your girlfriend.
She my life. I love her to death.
By 2018, the Just Friends era officially ended when reports confirmed they were engaged. Coverage at the time described it as a big moment, with a big ring and serious commitment energy, which had people thinking a wedding announcement was coming any day. The wedding plans didn't move the way fans expected, though. Dates got delayed, details stayed vague, and then came the ring situation that became one of the most talked about moments in their entire public history.
There's no date. We almost had a date. Well, we had 2 dates, but we were doing Braxton Family Values and we were going through a little drama. And I was like, okay, the wedding is a good thing to get all the sisters together.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get us all together. And I said, the wedding's not a good reason because it's messing up my relationship a little bit. He's like, come on, Michelle, set a date. Calls me Michelle. Doesn't call me Toni at all. That's my middle name, Toni Michelle.
Toni revealed she lost her engagement ring after luggage issues while traveling, and that detail exploded online because it wasn't just sentimental, it was reported to be extremely valuable. Losing luggage happens to everyone, but when you're famous, everyday problems become headlines, and headlines turn into theories. People started treating the ring story like a sign that things behind the scenes weren't as smooth as they looked. Early 2019 brought reports that the engagement was called off, and at that point, most people assumed it was done for good. The story should have ended there. It didn't. Reconciliation rumors circled back over the following years, but nothing concrete surfaced publicly. Then, in late 2023, Toni addressed the situation directly and denied being married, describing both of them as single. That statement seemed definitive at the time. Looking back now, it makes everything that came next even harder to explain. Because, in April 2025, multiple outlets reported that court documents had surfaced revealing Toni and Birdman actually got married. The wedding wasn't recent either. According to those documents, they quietly married on August 8, 2024, which was months before anyone in the public knew anything about it. A secret wedding after years of speculation. After a called-off engagement, after a public denial, that alone would have been enough to dominate the conversation for weeks. But that wasn't the detail that broke the internet. Buried in the same paperwork was the separation date listed in a divorce filing Toni had submitted. August 10, 2024. 2 days after the wedding date, they went from secret ceremony to legal separation paperwork in 48 hours, and nobody outside their circle has explained why. Not a blow-up caught on camera, not a statement to the press, nothing. Just 2 dates on a legal document that made people stop scrolling and read it again to make sure they understood what they were seeing. That's the detail that turned this from celebrity gossip into something people genuinely couldn't look away from, because it doesn't fit any pattern we're used to seeing. Messy breakups happen all the time, quick divorces happen. A 2-day turnaround from wedding to separation filing doesn't happen, or at least it doesn't happen publicly enough for anyone to have a frame of reference. And here's where the story takes another sharp turn. Because the divorce filing didn't go through. In January 2025, the case was dismissed, which meant they remained legally married. No divorce finalized, no public explanation, just a filing that appeared and then disappeared from the legal record. Married, then filing, then not filing, and the whole thing happening with almost no information given to anyone watching from the outside. When there's that kind of gap between what people see and what's actually explained, the internet fills in the blanks on its own. That's when the focus shifted from just Toni and Birdman to everyone in their orbit. The Braxtons have always been a family the public watches closely, and December 2025 brought Tamar Braxton directly into the conversation when she publicly addressed rumors involving Birdman and shut down the idea that anything romantic was happening between them. She called the rumor ridiculous and described Birdman more like family than anything else. She also repeated something she said before. She introduced Birdman and Toni after he showed interest in meeting her sister. From Tamar's perspective, she's been aware of the connection since the beginning, and she's not letting the internet rewrite that history or manufacture drama where she says none exists. Right when the 2-day separation detail had everyone's attention, another name started circulating again: Kimora Lee Simmons. The history here goes back to 2014 when headlines claimed Birdman sparked dating rumors with Kimora based on public shoutouts and affectionate language that people interpreted as more than friendly. None of that was ever confirmed, but the internet has a long memory, and in December 2025 the rumors resurfaced after Funkmaster Flex made comments on air that got people talking. He later clarified what he meant, but by then the old Birdman and Kimora speculation was already trending again. The reason this keeps coming back isn't because there's proof of anything, it's because when a story already has gaps, people grab whatever names and theories fill the space. There's an angle most people ignore when they talk about this situation, and it might be the most important one for understanding why the story looks the way it does. What if this relationship survives chaos because it was never designed for public consumption in the first place? Toni has talked about how much she's carried for others throughout her life, and why having someone finally show up for her meant something different than any relationship before. Birdman has always preferred silence over headlines, and has never courted media attention for his personal life. If they decided together that their relationship works best with distance from public opinion and zero obligation to explain themselves, then confusion is the natural result. Not because anyone wins or loses the narrative, but because that's how private people move when they're famous, and the world keeps demanding access they're not willing to give. Here's the detail that makes this impossible to write off as just another failed celebrity relationship. In 2025, Toni publicly acknowledged their anniversary and shared a ring photo, with reporting noting they were celebrating 1 year since the August 2024 wedding. The same wedding that came with a 2-day separation date in the paperwork. The same situation that looked like it was over before it started. A year later, she's posting about it like it's something worth celebrating. That doesn't prove everything between them is perfect. Nothing from the outside ever could. What it does tell us is that whatever happened in those 48 hours, whatever led to that divorce filing, and whatever caused that filing to get dismissed, they came out the other side still connected, still choosing each other in some form, still keeping the full story to themselves. The question everyone keeps asking is whether this relationship is real or falling apart. But maybe that's the wrong question entirely. Maybe the real question is whether we're watching two people who figured out that the only way to protect what they have is to let everyone else stay confused. The timeline doesn't make sense to us because we're not supposed to have enough information for it to make sense. Every detail that leaks out gets analyzed and picked apart, and every time that happens, it probably reminds them why they stopped explaining in the first place. 2 days between a wedding and a separation filing, a dismissed divorce. An anniversary post a year later. None of it fits together the way celebrity relationships usually do, and that might be exactly the point. What do you think actually happened in those 48 hours? And do you think we'll ever find out? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss any of the celebrity gossip. Thanks for watching.